If we are ever going to get back to the old America, that's got to be the Democrats' part of the bargain. Stop coming up with radically new and often terrible ideas, and then in the next breath insist there be no debate about any of it. That if you don't see it right away and go along, you're bad, stupid, and deplorable. As if you were saying, duh, 2 + 2 = 5, isn't that obvious? Yeah, it's obvious you can't add. You can't just say shit. Math is racist, queers for Palestine, looting is cool, healthy at any weight. If the men's football team played the women's team, it would be a tie. You can't just say shit.
On the latest episode of Real Time with Bill Maher, the comedian once again slammed the political left for clinging to what he calls woke delusions, even if it hurts America's future. And honestly, he's not wrong. The divide between left and right has never been wider. Maher says if we want to live up to the name United States, both sides must unite. But that can't happen while the left stays stuck in its woke crusade. His words were blunt, bold, and straight to the point. Let's dive in.
As it is so late in the game, let's just go right to the granddaddy of bargains now. The left will seriously quash all their loony woke shit, and the right will stop the slide into autocracy. That's really the only card left to play.
Before we play the next clip, I've got to admit, I agree with Maher here. If the left truly wants unity, it has to back away from extreme woke politics. This isn't about silencing anyone. It's about realizing that this ideology divides more than it unites. Sure, the right has its faults too, but as Maher says, much of today's tension comes from the left's refusal to compromise.
The basic problem we have in America is conservatives think the liberals are insane, and they're not completely wrong. Now, I don't think most liberals are insane, but neither do they make it clear they disapprove of the ones who are, and their cowardice in not marginalizing their own crazies has been their downfall. I couldn't get Neil deGrasse Tyson, a genius scientist and preeminent scientific voice in the media, to agree that it was ridiculous for Scientific American and The Atlantic to be claiming that separating sports by sex doesn't make sense. Yes, it does. Actually, it makes perfect sense.
Maher doesn't hold back. He calls the woke movement irrational, disconnected, and trapped in fantasy. What's worse, he says even once respected thinkers have abandoned logic for blind ideology. Common sense is vanishing, replaced by overcomplicated excuses that defend nonsense. Maher's message is clear. When a movement trades reason for delusion, it creates chaos, not progress.
A lot of stuff like that on the left, and when conservatives see it, they say, I'm sorry, we're just not going to go along with reinventing society, often pointlessly, even if we have to cancel democracy to do it. That's what they're saying. They see gender as only a construct and sex is assigned at birth, and they say, we're not doing that. Transing kids by self-diagnosis with no age limit, no parental notification, and no acknowledgement of social contagion, not doing it.
Take the gender debate. How can anyone claim gender is purely a social construct when science proves men and women have real biological differences? These aren't opinions, they're facts. Yet the woke left treats those facts as offensive. And worse, kids who can't even drive or vote are being encouraged to make irreversible decisions about their bodies. Maher warns that's not compassion, it's recklessness.
Asylum now covers any reason for anyone to come to America, not doing it. Homelessness is a lifestyle. Natural immunity doesn't count anymore. Whiteness is toxic. Penises in women's prisons. Welcoming the Intifada. We're not doing it. And so, folks,
Maher also hits on homelessness. He says it's time to stop pretending it's an alternative lifestyle. Real compassion means helping people off the streets, treating addiction and mental illness, and restoring dignity. Leaving people to suffer in tents isn't kindness. It's cruelty disguised as tolerance. And it harms entire communities, too.
If we're ever going to get back to the old America, that's got to be the Democrats' part of the bargain. Stop coming up with radically new and often terrible ideas, and then in the next breath insist there be no debate about any of it. That if you don't see it right away and go along, you're bad, stupid, and deplorable. As if you were saying, duh, 2 + 2 = 5, isn't that obvious? Yeah, it's obvious you can't add.
He then calls out woke activists for forcing their views on everyone else. Not everyone will think or live the same way. That's life. But the woke crowd demands conformity. Most Americans just want safe streets, strong families, and stability, not endless identity experiments. Maher says if the left wants credibility again, it needs to stop telling everyone how to live.
You can't just say math is racist, queers for Palestine, looting is cool, healthy at any weight. If the men's football team played the women's team, it would be a tie. You can't just say
Maher reminds us, facts aren't toys you twist to fit your emotions. They're real and unchanging. But the left often hides in echo chambers, repeating false ideas until they sound true. Maher urges them to face reality. Without facts, there's no reason, and without reason, society falls apart.
You can, but it doesn't make it true, because you're not Harry Potter. Smug self-righteousness in the defense of some of the dumbest ideas to ever come down the pike is not a formula that's really working for you. Because here's one thing I can promise every liberal in this country. The Democrats can win every election from now until forever. And the people who now hold the reins of power will not give it and will not give it back if they think you're still nutty.
I don't believe conservatives would cling to power if they lost, but I do believe putting liberals fully in charge is a recipe for chaos. Their ideas sound great on paper, but collapse in practice. We've seen it. 8 years of woke leadership gave us inflation, division, and failing institutions. That's history repeating itself.
Make one last stab at a grand bargain between the two sides that hate each other so much. America used to do this all the time, make bargains. And I've suggested many myself, like, you stop saying fetuses are the same as babies, and we'll stop saying trans women are the same as biological women. You stop saying alternative facts, and we'll stop saying my truth. You stop saying thoughts and prayers, and we'll stop with the land acknowledgement.
Some debates shouldn't even be compared. A fetus isn't just an idea, it's a living being. Ending that life isn't a small choice. And comparing that to men competing in women's sports misses the point. One is about protecting life. The other is about fairness and biological reality. Maher usually hits hard, but this time he blurs two very different issues.
We'll admit there's no such thing as voter fraud, and we'll admit that getting a picture ID isn't really that fucking hard to do. Stuff like that.
Here's the takeaway. If America wants a better future, both sides must compromise. But those compromises have to be based on truth, not fantasy. Real unity needs honesty, reason, and common sense. Maher's message is blunt but vital. The left must drop its woke illusions, and the right must face its flaws. Only truth can bring real unity. Anything else is just a ticking time bomb. And that's it for today's video. If you enjoyed it, make sure to like, subscribe, and stay tuned for more. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.